I wasn't going to make a video on these glow plugs, but there's one little issue here that I'm dealing with right now. It's the size. So they're good. Looks like about 1/4 of an inch longer. And I think these come in right above the intake valve. I'm pretty sure glow plugs do not go into the cylinder, so they shouldn't be anywhere near the piston. But I've got 2 in there now. I'm just going to crank it over and listen. And they could hit those glow plugs. If they do, I'm going to be asking for my money back. But yeah, I've got this little aluminum bar. I thought it was copper. I think it's aluminum. It looked like tin coated copper, but it's definitely aluminum. We're going to push the clutch in and we're going to crank on this and see before I put the third one in and see what happens. We'll just listen for it. You know what? That sounds like it's right on the right above the piston. Okay, I got one. The third one's out. That's interesting. So there's nothing striking anything, so I think we're okay. I'll get that third one in. I use these here. First time I ever. Master Force. I bought these at Menards in the US last summer when we were down in Kentucky. And they're just like regular vice grips, but they're super long. They got this extension in the middle. And this pivot point. Just a bar that pivots the jaw. Worked pretty good. So I could not get the socket off this one over here. I used them to pull the socket off, and then I couldn't get that third glow plug out, so I used that. So we're gonna stick that third one in. It's got some writing on here. There's part numbers on there, I think. I'm gonna look that part number up on the eBay or something. It's good to keep a record of this. So we got a Y112RSI 10.5 volt 0484. That must be the machine that made this. That's probably the part number on top there. Y112 RSL RS1 RSI, whatever it is. So those are original Kubota parts. I'm pretty sure, because I never changed these and I've had this machine for getting close to 30 years. Bought it in I think 97, so 28 years ago. So we'll get that third one in. That third one's going to be the tricky one. I kind of got to grab this little bar here and force it over. There's no way to take that out unless we pull the sheet out of here. So there's room to get in there and go around it. So drop that down in there. And I don't know if I can get the socket on that because these are longer. Might have to turn it with my fingers. You can see they're on a little slight bit of an angle. They may drop right in on top of the piston. I don't know. Yeah, because the injectors are right here. So the injectors would be right where the piston is. Where are the valves? Valves must be on this side over here. Exhaust and intake valves. Intake's over here. I don't know. We'll find out when we pull the head off the other machine what's going on in there. But as far as I always knew, that you could not do a compression test on a diesel engine. Very hard to do a compression test. And I think part of the reason is the glow plugs are not normally in where the piston is. So you can't, not like a spark plug where you can just read the pressure in the cylinder. Maybe you can do that on one of these little this is a, what is it? A D1105. There it is. Kubota 3-cylinder 1.1 liter. That's what the 11 stands for, 1100 cc. So we're going to tighten that up, hook up our little bar here. Wasn't going to do a video on this, but you know what, maybe people like these videos. People watch these videos, and for years and years afterwards I get people watching them and telling me they like these videos. So and there's nobody else doing them, so I do them for you. There's no way that socket's going to go on there. So I'm going to have to pause this video and we're going to have to use a wrench or something. I don't know what, a crowfoot wrench maybe? Figure out a way to get that on there. I got it in. I got it tight. What I did was just push this right over to get the socket on. What I did was thread it in by hand because it's a little taller than the original part until it bottomed. Well, I couldn't turn it anymore. It didn't bottom out, but then I was able to slip the socket over it, and the socket came right off. This middle one here, the socket would not come off that one. I am going to look up and see if you can do a compression test. That's interesting because it'd be fun to do a compression test. Not on this machine, on the other one when we pull the head off. I'll pull all glow plugs out, do a compression test if I have the right tool to thread in there. I do have a compression tester. That'd be neat to see if we can get a reading on that. Okay. All I have to do now is put that little bar on. I went and got a couple of washers. When I took those glow plugs out, I lost 2 washers. They fell down in between. I think they're probably still down in there somewhere. And I'm a little undecided. Usually I reuse the original Kubota hardware, like nuts, and these nuts are flat on this side. They're just like new. These have that integrated kind of washer, lock washer. So kind of like that. Maybe I'll use these. You guys have to decide what you're going to do, but we're going to drop that little bar on there. And then I don't think it really matters which glow plug you put the wire on. The easiest two are this one. I think that's the first one, or the second one. The third one is just about impossible to get at, so I wouldn't recommend putting it on that one. But once you get it on one of these 3, it sends power to all 3 through that bar. So we'll get those tightened up, and then we're going to turn it on and test it. I don't know how you're supposed to put this third nut on. It's on there. It's kind of crooked, but I'm going to do the same as when I tighten that glow plug in there, and I get one finger from the front, one finger from the back, and try and spin it on there. Okay, they're all in. I got the nuts tightened down, and now the moment of truth. And this one here was tricky to get on there, I'm telling you. And what I used was number 8 SAE number 8 washers. I always keep a box of these. I gotta buy. They're hard to find. Not everywhere carries these. I don't know why, because it's something I use often. Okay, what we're gonna do right in front of your viewing pleasure eyes is gonna be, there we go. It's dimming right down. I think you guys can see that. Glow plugs on, glow plugs off. On, off. You don't want to overheat them either, so 10 seconds maximum. I think overheating them is what burns them out. So I think that's fixed, but well, we're not going to know until the first cool morning, like 50 degrees, which is about 10 degrees Celsius, 12 maybe Celsius, 52 Fahrenheit. We'll find out, but I think that our issue is solved. A little 8-9 minute video on how to change glow plugs is kind of boring, but you know what, if you have one of these machines, you're not sure why it doesn't start. Well, if you're on a job and it doesn't start, you know, what are you going to do? You don't have access to electricity. You can't plug in your block heater to heat the engine up. You have only one option: to either keep cranking until you burn the starter out, run the battery down, and then boost it. Well, eventually you're going to burn your starter out because it overheats. And the other option is to spray a little bit of ether, which is kind of, it's not, these motors are not bulldozer engines. You can blow the gasket on you could blow something up. You could blow the motor up. So the better option of the 3 is to, what I did here is to change all the glow plugs. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching.